As part of the year-round celebrations for Porsche's 60 years in Australia, several iconic cars have been freighted from Porsche's Museum on Wheels in Stuttgart. This rolling museum travels the world, allowing enthusiasts the opportunity to look, touch and see these extremely rare and significant machines in action. The 962 is one of the most successful Porsche race cars ever built and a symbol of Porsche's dominance over 80s endurance racing. The 962 was designed around an all-new monocoque chassis and twin-turbo six-cylinder engine. Along with its predecessors, the 956 and the 935, the 962 would win 10 World Championships and 6 Le Mans titles. Former Bathurst winner and successful V8 supercar, Formula Ford and sports car driver Tomas Mezera has a long relationship with Porsche. Today he is the chief driving instructor at the Porsche Sport Driving School on the Gold Coast, but back in 1990 drove a 962, the most important endurance race of them all, the classic 24 Hours of Le Mans.
This is a classic, and you never beat classic car like this, and lots of sort of motoring enthusiasts, they always come and look at these cars, because same for me when I was a young kid. I always look up to Porsche for their sports car achievements, and I always wanted to drive a Porsche in Le Mans, and it was great achieving that dream that I was in one of the fastest ever car at Le Mans. I remember I went out there for a first stint, and I did a first stint and hop out of the car, and I was absolutely naked. And you're only a couple of hours into a race, and but then you sort of keep driving and driving and driving, and it's you just don't think about this is hard, this is fast, or you just try to do your best and press on.
This iconic Rothmans 962 is the actual race-winning car from the 1987 Le Mans 24 Hour. It was driven by Derek Bell, Hans Stuck and Al Holbert, and is now one of the moving exhibits in Porsche's Museum on Wheels.
And back in 1990, I drove about 3 races here, long-distance races in a Holden, and I did this in Japan and Europe. And I can tell you, it always was easier going from this to a Holden than the other way around, because you go the other way around and everything's happening very quickly. And then you hop from this into a Commodore, and like all in a slow motion.
After 21 years, Thomas will see if his reflexes can still match the 962.
First thing after a few laps, I remember I was bashing my elbow on a gear linkage, and in those days I used to have a bit of a lump on my elbow from bashing it on a gear linkage, and that's the sort of first thing suddenly just comes back to you. There's definitely one thing that just stands out, and that never changes. I remember the car never stops accelerating. The car kept always accelerating until you had to brake. If the straight was longer, it just kept going and picking up the speed. And any other cars I've driven ever since never had the same feeling. bumpy, that's for sure. And these cars, they really not made for a track like this. And, they made for a nice and smooth tracks. They raced in Europe. And yeah, but it was good to be reunited, I would say, after I think it was 21 years ago.
The visit of the 962 is timely, coinciding with Porsche's announcement of their return to Le Mans in 2014 to aggressively pursue outright victory.